Hi guys, Hail Mary to everybody. It's MicheleMarieDalene, and today we're going to talk about something a little less exciting. It's important we got to cover this because this is going to affect your ability to get a meal in the next few days. I'm talking about what's going on with all the excess rain in the Midwest and, yes, the Northeast, and how it's affecting crops all over the United States. Now, I did actually do this video earlier, but the problem I ran into was, well, we had some technical problems. So instead of basically trying to save something that sounded like a roadkill, I figured we would try to cover fresh news, fresh topic right now. So that's what we're doing. I'm just making sure we're recording. Yes, we are. So let's get started. Now, first of all, the situation with the crop damage is intense. I'm not going to bore you with the details. Just to say that I'm going to share the articles with you, and I'm going to let you see it for yourself. Like this one right here, for example. It says it's a disaster like I've never seen before. 2019 could be the worst year ever for U.S. corn farmers. This article was originally published by Michael Snyder of the Economic Collapse blog. The amount of corn produced by the United States this year is going to be way below expectations. The Department of Agriculture has just slashed its harvest estimates quite dramatically in its June report, but some farmers in the Midwest believe that those reduced projections are still way too optimistic. As I previously detailed, millions upon millions of acres will go unplanted this year. But that's only part of the story. Much of the corn that has actually been planted is coming up very slowly due to the exceedingly poor conditions. And corn farmers all over the Midwest are reporting that their plants look absolutely terrible. If we get a picture perfect weather between now and harvest time, this could simply be a terrible year. But if severe heat and or an early frost hits the Midwest, this could be easily the worst year that we've ever seen for corn farmers in the United States. And it's not just the United States. Trust me. I've checked out several other reports. But that's not just corn. Let's take a look at another article right here. That's right, I was looking at this before I read it. Midwest flooding will cause shortages of these foods. And I will post a link to all of these so you can find. And we're going to give a list of foods. Now, some of the foods we don't eat directly, but here's the ones we do. Here's all of them. Wheat, corn, soybeans, hay, alfalfa, oats, beef, dairy, pork, chicken, and eggs. Now, chicken and eggs obviously are related to each other. Almost all of these creatures depend on the greens to grow and make our other meat products. So clearly, because of the corn damage, because of the damage to the wheat harvest, because of the constant rain, the flooding, oh my God, it's just bad. Okay, the point here is it ever going to improve? Well, let's be honest here. Let me just switch the question back screen back to me. The problem is that the crops are the crops are a problem because we grow food every day. Come on. There we go. All right, I can see me. All right. The problem is everything is interconnected. Now, I mentioned this before through something called just-in-time. Now, just-in-time means that everything is made at the order of time it's needed. So, for example, we don't have much warehousing. Likewise is true with agriculture. We usually harvest our crops, and ideally we fill our silos and grain bins with the foods we need. for the winter coming up, and usually don't have a lot of extra reserve capacity. And when we do, we sell it to other countries. Well, I hate to say this, guys. The other countries are just as desperate as we are. Their own crops are being decimated. For example, many crops worldwide are being affected by similar events. Either it's raining like crazy or it's dry and arid. For example, in India right now, India is a hot box. It is 130 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 46 degrees Celsius. I'm not trying to exaggerate that. You're talking about weather that is causing a severe drought in India. But people are basically fleeing their villages in southern India because it's so arid and so dry. There's no water to be found, so people are evacuating. But guess what? The elderly and the disabled and infirm are being left behind to fend for themselves. And they're not in any better shape to basically prepare for their own situation at all. China has been seriously affected as well. It is grain and crop growing regions. The Ukraine has been affected. Almost all the major food growing industries and places of growing have been affected by this wacky weather, and it's going to get worse. Why? Because first of all, it's my job. I'm the North American Snow Queen, so I study this stuff. I look for the trends. So let me give you my trends analysis. Number one, I do not see this wet season ending soon. And tomorrow, incidentally, right now today's the 20th. Tomorrow is June 21st. It is the start of summer. It's not going to get any better. At least not significantly. Anyway, here in New England, the temperature, it's raining like crazy out there, and it's humid, but unfortunately, it's I'm sorry to say, it's not really warm. It's certainly not summer-like. And so people are beginning to ask questions like, what are we going to do about our crops? Well, here's the sad truth, guys. You can't do a damn thing about the crops. Okay? It's that simple. Because you can't even if you're looking at the plant, the ground is so super saturated with water. This is affecting Ohio. This is affecting Connecticut farmers too. They're having the same problem. Not getting enough sun, too much water, and many farmers, if someone says, throw their hands in the air and says, I'm not even going to bother planting. And if that happens, it means that a lot of people are going to be going hungry. Because of supply and demand, that also means that food is going to go up in price significantly at the grocery store. And that's an issue for people on fixed income. How are you going to be able to afford to buy, for example, rolled oats? How are you going to be able to afford to buy things like flour, eggs, pork, chicken? You're not. It's gonna, especially meat. Beef costs a lot to raise cattle. And what's gonna happen is that people are going to have to go without. The problem is, remember the rule of threes. You can live 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. So, the first thing is clearly we need to come up with a source of food. Now, for those people who have been preparing and have a food stash, such as preppers, you are smart. You got on before the shit hit the fan, and you know it, and you're prepared. At least you have already started to stockpile your products that you're going to need. The grand solar minimum is upon us. NASA has even said that things are going to get worse before they get way better, at least they say by 2030. But according to Valentina Zakova, it ain't gonna be better by 2030. Why? Well, because first of all, the problem is Valentina Sarkova's older models show that the problem it could extend just like the modern minimum did for hundreds of years. You're talking about 400-year cycle. So if you think 2016, 2019 is bad, come back in 2419. Then maybe we'll start to see us recover from this. But don't forget the Renaissance is also the time when we actually started. We got out of the black, out of the Dark Ages, and through the Renaissance began the process of rebuilding our communities and our societies and our technology. And speaking of that, is our technology going to save us? Not really, because first of all, technology in some places is not even being repaired. For example, Uruguay and Argentina lost power for a week, for hours, and they were both on the same power grid, and it's already shows signs that the power grids of different countries are already kind of stretched thin. Obviously, India, with all of its heat, its power grid is completely screwed up. It's not able to cool. Air conditioning is not going to work in India. It would cost too much money and cause it to blow a fuse. So the infrastructure is going to fail. What's going to happen when everybody starts suffering failure after failure after failure utilities? There's going to be a lot of people in very, very bad shape, and it's going to get worse because of that. Well, if you can't get a meal, that's more serious, right? If you can't get something to eat, hundreds of thousands are going to die. And when they do, when they realize that if they see someone else eating something that they want, human beings can be pretty brutal, especially if they're brutally hungry. So please do keep in mind that if you have not started prepping and storing food and water, this would be a good time to start while you still can get a chance. Because I'm going to project that by September, you're going to see prices in the grocery store go through the roof. Because of the fact is that's when all the supplies in the grocery store are going to be the stuff that's being stored in the silos in a couple of weeks and months. So when that stuff goes in the silos, and if there's not enough, and there are going to be a lot of stores and individuals trying to find the groceries they need, everything that depends on agriculture is going to go through the roof. Everything. Is the United States Department of Agriculture going to bail out farmers? Possibly. Is it going to be enough? Probably not. What about the food stamp program? Forget it. The food stamp program probably will not be able to provide enough benefit increase to satisfy the needs of the people who are going to be going hungry. Of course, some of you might say, well, what about you big, large, morbidly obese people? Are you going to finally be on a crash diet? Yeah, literally, crash diet. But would that be good? Would that be bad? It's a difference between a crash diet and a planned diet. But the truth is if you can't afford to buy steak, you're not going to buy steak. If you can't afford to buy ground chuck, you're not going to buy ground chuck. If you can't afford to buy cans of Spam, you're not going to buy cans of Spam. If you can't afford to buy any cereals, you're not going to buy cereals. And that means that there's going to be a lot of problems coming on. Just be aware of that. I can't stress enough that yes, things are going to get really, really dicey. And that's no joke. And trust me, if you think that I'm kidding you, many, many news channels have covered this exact same topic. Many of them are talking about the same thing I am. So please keep in mind that I'm not trying to scare you because I think it's fun. I'm trying to tell you that things are about to change really quick. And I'm asking you to please keep in mind your needs and your supplies because it's going to be up to you to provide for you and your family. Thanks for watching, guys.